on the video, but I've been asked to do a short video on how I arrived at the fact that the origin of human consciousness is not this thing here. There's something we don't understand. I never would have believed that I have my belief structures the way they are now when I set on this course to really understand the origin of human consciousness. This journey started a long time ago. I was a deep sea diver initially. This is me over here. But I was also an aerospace engineer, and I was developing the computers, physics of flight computers for the B-1 bomber, and perfecting the computers on the F-14 Tomcat, which is the main air defense plane for the United States Navy. And while I was in my office in North Torrance, California, somebody came into my office and told me about this newfangled thing called a CAT scan, and it just blew me away. The next board meeting, I told everyone, have a nice life, I'm going to med school. Everybody thought I was crazy. My parents informed me that I would get no support from them. They were totally against the whole crazy notion of going to medical school. But I've always been blessed financially. For some reason, my whole life, I never seemed to have to worry about money. It just always came to me. And I paid my way through med school, wrote out checks and added some more zeros, and fortunately nothing bounced. But I wanted to be a neurologist. It was really, a lot of it was philosophical. And also part of it was personal, humanitarian. We all want to leave the world better than when we came in. But I did it, and I became a neurologist. I went through Georgetown. I've been practicing for decades, field of neurology. I'm also what you would call a pretty educated person. I'm boarded in undersea hyperbaric medicine. I'm an expert in aerospace medicine. I'm also boarded, of course, in neurology. I've taught medicine, of course, and boarded in sleep. But my real drive is the origin of human consciousness. Where is it in this brain that is you? And I believe that this is very, very important, because the three basic questions of philosophy, of which all philosophy revolves around, is where did we come from, why are we here, and where are we going? And you cannot answer any basic philosophical question without first addressing this. Ancient alien theory falls by the wayside. The UFO phenomenon falls by the wayside. All of that falls by the wayside unless you really, really understand who we really are. Where did you come from? Why are you here? Where are you going? So I practiced medicine, I practiced neurology, and I became very, 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 very busy. But this is the story about the man that really changed my thinking on this, and he was a patient of mine. We'll call him W. And one day I was busy in my office, and I got a call from Doctors Community Hospital in Lanham, Maryland, which I held a very high position. And apparently somebody was walking down the street, had a seizure, which precipitated a cardiopulmonary arrest. That means his heart wasn't pumping blood, and he wasn't breathing. In other words, he was dead. And they brought him into the emergency room at Doctors Hospital. And in those days, there were little cubicles, not much space. You had the examination table, you had the bed in there, but there wasn't much space for anything else. And he was obviously unresponsive. He was dead, he was flatlined. And finally, we were able to get the heart going, but he was still in a coma. We sent him upstairs to the intensive care unit. And gradually, his consciousness became clear and he recovered. I did a CAT scan of the brain at that time, but I don't do contrast CTs on a regular basis because they can be very, very dangerous sometimes. And so I did a non-contrast CAT scan of the brain. It was negative, so we really don't know what precipitated the seizure. But he recovered about 10 days later. I sent him home. I said, listen, follow up my office and we'll get an MRI, just make sure everything's okay. So he did that, and he sat in front of me. He was over here on my left, and his wife was on my right, and followed up in my office. And he said, Dr. Weischer, he says, I was dead. I says, I know you were dead. I was there. There's no question about it. He says, you don't understand. I was outside my body. I saw everything. And he went on to describe exactly what had transpired inside that little cubicle. And then he went on and told me that he saw a light at the end of a tunnel and felt compelled to go into this light and came out to this beautiful scenery. He said it was beyond description. It was so beautiful I can't tell you. I have a hard time explaining it to you. And then I proceeded to tell him that this was a sick brain and it was hallucinating and don't believe things in this particular state. And I was pretty smug. After all, I was educated, and I'm the doctor. He said something to me I never forgot. He said, Dr. Weischer, I'm older than you. That means I've had more dreams than you've had. This was no dream. Don't give me this bullshit about Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or bugs on the wall. My thinking was clear. My hearing was clear. My vision was clear. I asked questions and I received answers. So then I thought, well, maybe I better just shut up and listen. And he described that there was a stream coming down. There was a beautiful tree on the other side of the stream. There's a bridge over the stream. And he went over there and he noticed that there's his dead father, his dead uncle, and his dead brother. And they were all talking and kind of, joking together, just like you normally would. But a man came and tapped him on the shoulder, on the back. And he turned around and said, who are you? He said, well, my name is Jesus. He says, well, I'm sorry, I don't believe in you. W never went to church, never went to synagogue, never went to temple. He had no religious. He was an extremely wealthy man, and his only goal in life was the big deal, and he was very good at it. So Jesus just laughed. He says, I was an historical figure, and we want you to know you lived a very exemplary life. You were honest in all your business dealings. And come to find out, W was honest in all of his business dealings. Everybody said if you did business with him, you didn't need a lawyer. And that's probably why he became so wealthy. Anyways, his brother was there. His brother was a huge sailing enthusiast. His whole life when he was alive here on this planet was sailing. So he said, come on up, I want to show you my sailboat. So I said, okay. And he went, sat in the cockpit and had his hand on the wheel. It was a big wheel, so it's just kind of like this. His brother had his hand on the wheel like this. And I asked him, I said, well, describe me the boat. He says, well, the lifeline, there were ropes, but in the grooves of the ropes were diamonds and rubies and sapphires, just like no other boat I've ever seen. And finally he said to his brother sitting in the cockpit, this place is really cool. I don't want to go back to Earth. This place is really cool. I want to stay. Well, his brother said, you have to go back to Earth. But don't worry, you're going to be there a very short while because you're terminally ill. And W said, he said, I never thought I'd say this before, but yippee, I'm terminally ill. But his brother told him, you have to give this message. And then you'll come back. And he did. And this is an absolute true story. Because when he was telling me this, I took his MRI and put it up on the screen. And in those days, the MRI it came in printed photocopy. And I put it up on the viewer like we did years ago. And there it was, right there, glioblastoma multiforme grade 4, malignant brain tumor, primary brain tumor. He died 6 months later. he asked permission to go to the hospice society, to go to the hospice in the area and discuss with those that were dying and to show them that they're going to a better place. His wife almost fell off the chair because she said, I don't even know this guy. This is incredible. I've never heard of anything like this. But anyways, he did. And I was on the board of trustees in the Hospice Society, and we gave him permission to do that. And then he died. But the message is this, that regardless of what your religion is or anything along those lines, it's you. Salvation is not by just faith or believing. It's you molding your character. And I think that was the most profound thing. And another thing we learned from this is that the origin of human consciousness is not the brain. He was dead. This brain is a conduit that connects the real you, your real spirit, with this four-dimensional world of X, Y, Z, and time. And that's all this is. And I have a lot of experience on this. And in my book, I explain why I believe that is the case. And I think it's important because when you want to understand philosophy, you have to come to grips with the origin of human consciousness. But anyways, I hope you found this intriguing. This is my book over here. I mentioned that a gazillion times already. It's on Amazon.com. You can Kindle it, and of course you can share it on Kindle for free because I'm not making any money off of this. I don't need any money. I got so much money. When a man gets to be 65 and older, he starts thinking about what he's going to leave behind in this planet. And I'm doing this for you. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. See you later.